Hello?
Oh, thank you.
So who did that?
Not you?
Anitra.
Okay, Anitra.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thanks, Anitra.
What did I do?
Again, so.
Did I do something?
Yeah, something, yeah, that was
No,
quick.
that's perfect. I mean, the more we can have stuff like this, it's
Yeah, you can pause and turn it off afterwards.
How can you tell you're recording?
it just said it's recording.
There's a red thing on the right top of your screen.
Oh, okay.
Like a round icon saying, if you hover over, you say it's recording.
Oh, okay.
And up in the top in the right-hand corner, there's a little red dot.
Yeah,
I
not.
Yes, I see.
Where is it?
Yes, it says recording has started. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, go ahead, Kota.
Yeah, so this is the login screen. So once there are two more steps before this activation, I will go to the activation after the demo. So I don't want to disconnect everything right now. It may take a few more minutes. So once you activate your MPOS, you get to this screen, which is login screen. Here is where we enter our operator ID. LSA enters operator ID, which is going to be SAP. So then they will log in with their password. So I'm entering my operator ID as LSA. So then any questions on login screen, Anita? This is the login screen, pretty much straightforward.
No, good.
So Kota, like the one which they would be using login ID, is there the SAP ID to the password for that or network?
That's the discussion happening with AD team, Bill Kagi. So they are going to have simplified way of logging in instead of remembering any password or anything. So
Okay.
that we will get to know this week. So let me start with the beginning, from the beginning instead of this. So that way we can stepping back 1 second. I'm going to, so this is the deactivation step. Every time there is a trip completes, LSA has to go and deactivate this trip so they can use the pause for next trip. So this is a deactivation. Since I'm already in the trip, I'm deactivating my device. So it says yes. So deactivation is going. Now my pause has been deactivated. So now.
So deactivation is like a reset in the current device.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we are in the screen here, so we can. So in the production scenario, I think they are going to pre-launch the device automatically when the device boots up. But even though if it doesn't launch, this is the application, Retail Modern Pause. So double click on this and it opens up. So this is the first step. Application is launching. Then once application is launched, this is activation steps. So I'll click on next. So we are activating MPOS. Then it will automatically populate this. What is your device ID and register number? So we can click use guided activation here. So it will take through the step by step. Next, in authenticating, they will have their account here. So that step is activation through AD. They will use their Amtrak.
Is this when they're sitting in the train?
Commissary. That's what we're talking.
Okay, so this will be their UPN.
UPN, yeah.
Yes.
UPN.
So we're going to write all that up, guys. But it's a UPN, and a UPN is similar to your Amtrak email, but it doesn't give you email capabilities. So this is going to be a learning process for the LSA.
Yeah.
But it'll be part of our training.
That is correct. So as soon as they enter their UPN and password, it remembers their credentials. Next time they can click yes and it will connect. So this is a critical step where they select their store. So right now in the new 365 system design, store is everything, like what train, what car type, what date and what device and everything. So they need to pick up right store. So for example, the stores in a production scenario, the stores will be named like this. For example, Acela 2150 Cafe 01. So which means, okay, they are signing in train 2150 and car type is Cafe and 01. So but for testing I'm going to use a different store because this has been set up. So
And Coda, you'll tell everybody who's testing which store they should log into?
correct. We will assign you the
Perfect.
stores. So you know which store to use.
Perfect.
And when you want to switch the store, let us know. We will configure accordingly. So, but in production scenario, they will know exactly what.
Exactly.
So for now, I'm picking Heartland Flight 01. This is train 822. So usually we will have 822 here, but then after store is complete, we are moving to next screen where they will select the register. So register also in production scenario, it will be, so it will have a proper naming like what train number that register is. So once store has register has been selected, the pause gets activated. There are two steps. One is signing, three steps actually. Signing in using UPN that credentials, Amtrak credentials, and selecting the store, selecting the register, then it gets activated. So here LSA will enter their worker ID and password. So now here we can see the store name on the sign-in screen, which store they are activating, Heartland Flyer 01. In production scenario, it will be like Heartland Flyer train number 822 Cafe 01. If it is 02, it will say 02. So this is test store, so it is just Heartland Flyer name. So sign in. So as soon as we sign in, the default screen is the transaction screen. This is the transaction screen, and if you see right hand side, all the groupings, categories, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, beverages, alcohol, miscellaneous, and this is a number pad to select the item, enter the quantity, sorry. So this is that, and going back to home screen, which is left hand side on the top, clicking on home screen, which takes you to this screen, which has other actions and functionalities. So current transaction screen, which is where we came back here, this is the current transaction screen where we can add products to the cart and we can sell products. So going back to home screen here, and here we have like reports, show journals, so report size, all these reports, let's say sales by staff, by hour, and all those reports. And show journal will have all the transactions that this POS is doing, each transaction, each item code, and Pepsi, $2, and all that information. So,
Coda, can I ask a question on the reports?
Yeah.
All the OBS managers will probably have an interest in that. Will those reports as part of UAT, will we be able to click and they'll run?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Works. Yep. And this is something database connection, which shows whether they are online or offline. So if it shows on the top, it says connected, which means they have connectivity, they are working online. And if it says offline, which means they don't have connectivity, they can still make sale, they can still do the sale. But after connectivity comes back, it will sync to the back office, which we say D365 HQ. And we have another city pairing and forward store transaction. These two features will be in the next build. This is one of the defects, will be in the UAT build today that we are going to have. And other things like inventory, these are all standard, like price check, inventory lookup, these are out of the box, price and receiving, stock count. So waste management is a customized feature for Amtrak. So basically this is spoilage in the current system. And onboard orders and OBO status, this is onboard orders. And moving on to shift and driver, here we have suspend shift, which is like a suspend leg in the current system. Close shift is like a end of leg in the current system. Manage shift takes you to a screen where you can manage your shift. If you have multiple shift, we can close and all. Right now I have only one shift. So end of trip, which is like same as a current end of trip functionality, and declare start amount, start cash drawer amount, what amount they start with. So it is like what do you call, Rupesh, this
Yeah,
declare
this
start?
is the loan. They start with $300 from the crew base.
And open drawer and declare tender, this is like a remittance. In current world, this is like a cash remittance. So that is that. And
It's not the bank drop that if they want to deposit in the bank along the way.
so that's
Yeah, the
correct.
bank drop is when they do the close out the cash drawer and they take the cash out of
Yeah.
and they
The
go to a
deposit in the
station
bank
agent.
along.
Do
Yep.
their remittance. They do their
Yeah,
remittance.
bank drop is that remittance, correct. The declared tender is something to submit to HQ actually.
Yeah.
So round trip train, this is something we are going to change this name, Rupesh and Anitra. Round
Yes.
trip train is something like a end of leg actually. So for example, 822 goes to the destination, uh, then there it turns back with the 822, 821 train number. That's when they can click here and pick
Okay.
the new train number. So this has
So
the issue right
some
now.
of the buttons will be role based, Anitra. So some we will hide it and some will expose it.
Correct, correct, correct. So we need a bank drop, not the declared tender. Yes. So declared tender may not be here in the final version. We will use bank drop. So we have an issue right now. What is happening is, since I went back to show my this is all the UI layout. So how everything works, like if you go to current transaction and add this to transaction, it is giving me an error. But that is because I was in a trip without without closing our shift and ending our trip. I deactivated my device just to present you just for the demo purpose. So now if you see here, my train ID, my trip ID, my car number, everything is null. That is why this trip is not going to work for all the transactions.
Oh,
But
yes.
I can set up a trip now if you if you have time, or we can do end to end
We'll,
in the next
we'll do
session.
we'll do that.
In the next session, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be fine the next time.
So yeah, so basically what will we can do, pay check, pay cash, pay card, currency, and these are all. So right now when I'm trying to add to cart, what it is saying is you just abruptly ended your previous session. Uh, you did not end trip, so that's what it is happening. So I did that purposely because to show you how to activate the device in the beginning of trip. So, but I
That's
did not properly go through all the steps like doing the bank drop, doing the end of trip steps. All those steps we will go one step by step with you, Anitra, in the next session.
that's fine. I understand.
So this is how UI look and feel for now, and we just need to, yeah, one thing, whenever this is the current situation where I'm in, like for example I'm in a trip and my trip ID is null here. So train ID is null, which means I don't have a trip in Wims yet for my store. So if you see this error, just go ahead and create a trip in Wims. If you are in this situation anytime while you are doing UAT testing, which means we don't have an active trip,
Okay.
then we can go back to Wims and create an active trip, then come back to the store and deactivate this one and choose a new store. So we will go through one more time. Once you are hands-on, you know what I'm talking about clearly.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. Train ID, trip ID, no card.
So maybe you can provide feedback whether we want trip ID here or all those things. That's the feedback we need from you during UAT session. So if you want to see any more data here, so that's the way we will go.
Okay. Okay.
MPOS, and we have back office also.
I'm going to be validate looking at the back office, right, Anitra?
So this
For
is the
reports and
Anita, this is the device front end, right? MPOS. We have back office, HQ headquarters, where you will check reports and other things. So I'm just going into the back office.
Okay.
Back office is a browser-based application. You just enter the URL in the browser and you enter your Amtrak credentials. It will take you through the login process. So in the back office, this is out of the box, so it has a bunch of stuff. But our the functionality that Amtrak is using is retail. If you see here, we have retail. So this retail functionality, and so we have so the items from WIMS. D365 terminology is products by category.
Mm-hmm.
Products by category, yeah. So if you go to the products category, you will see all the products here. These are from WIMS. So they loaded here. A API job pulls up these and loads these every time there is a change.
This is the inventory master here.
Correct. That is correct. Inventory master. And they created categories also, alcohol, beverages. This is where we need your help, Anitra. If you see anything not categorized properly, or if you have any suggestions, we need to change that. All these categories and products. So this is there on MPOS as well, the same view. So if I go to MPOS, you have this sandwich button at left hand side. I'm in MPOS. You have all these categories here, alcohol.
That's a different thing. Okay.
And this button, this context means another button.
Okay. This is another other list. So going back to back office, and this is products view, and so if you want to see price or anything in the back office, we can check that also, and we will run some jobs as soon as you create a trip. So there is a job called get trips. So this is a job we have to run, which publish the trip data from HQ to MPOS. This is what I was talking about. So whenever I will just say okay, and it will take some time, and it will run the job, and it will send the trip data to MPOS. Then MPOS will select the store, and from there it will go through the standard sales and everything. So that's a very, very high level view of two things, back office and MPOS front end. And any questions, Anitra, at this point? I know.
No, not at this point. Not about the MPOS or anything. This is good, and then Monday we'll get hands on. So this is good. The only other thing is once we actually get into the rest of the week, we'll one of the things I have to focus on because we don't want to. We want to make sure WIMS is functioning for the data coming back, since that's not something that we've had with the transfer in. So that's high on my boss Jack's list to make sure that we do some thorough testing with the transfers back in and see how, I think Rupesh, see how WIMS is handling that aspect of it. So that's why I say when we get to the end of the testing, that'll be something we will put a lot of effort in and focus on.
Yeah, true. I mean, there is another trip functionality from MPOS that will send data, but the final transfer would be done by Aramark.
So we're going to kind of replicate all of that in the test system.
Okay.
So we want to do it end to end. So we'll do that we'll do that for a few different trips, different data.
So Larry and Sonia would be doing the MPOS part?
They'll be down with me Monday. to kick off, and then when we start back up here Tuesday, it will be the whole team will actually be learning the functionality of this system.
That's good.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit, Ropesh.
No, that's good. I said like Larry and Sonia are front end users, so.
Okay, so Anitra, any questions? I know it's already late in the day. Apologize. Just like I wanted to just level set with you, sort of prep you for Monday.
I do appreciate it because this was a good run through. So there will be a sense of familiarity when we start Monday. So this is good. I appreciate the time that everybody put in to meet and do this with me. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Odessa.
No problem. So we'll see on Monday. We'll talk about you taking a device back to continue testing. The only thing is that you'll need a hotspot. We'll have Randy come down on Tuesday to continue to work with your team. I will also take the feedback, like you said, that it would be nice to have a open bridge. We'll definitely do that for everybody so that in case people have questions, they can just call into the bridge and someone will be here to walk them through or answer their questions.
And thank you, Coda. I appreciate it. Look forward to meeting you Monday.
Sure, Anita. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thanks, Anitra. Have a great weekend. Thanks,
Thank
Sonia
you.
and Larry. Thanks,
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Have a great weekend.
Everyone did the